Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So today, I'm really zoomed out because today we're going to make this little guy. Oh, we got a flower popping out. We're going to make this little guy. So he is meant to sit on your front porch, covered, or sunroom, with this little pot full of, mine are going to be mums. When mums come out, my pot's going to be full of mums. So he's just meant to hold your little flower pots for the fall season and Halloween, which mums are perfect for. So that's why he's got a pumpkin face. And he's a scarecrow, so all this is supposed to represent straw. Anyway, let's get right into this. So I am going to be using a 5mm. This is going to be built in amigurumi. So I'm using this. It's just a taupe from Red Heart, and that's what I'm going to use for the skin, the arms and the legs. That's what they look like, and then the rest of them is whatever your shirt and your pants are going to be. You're going to need some black. You're going to need some yellow for the hay, whatever color you want to hat. So get all your colors together, and whatever hook size it calls for, go down a little bit. You don't have to go much. A lot of this bigger variegated stuff and the tweed or the flex calls for a 5.5, so that's why I'm using a 5. So get whatever hook that your yarn calls for, but down a little bit. So let's get started. We're going to start with the arm. So get your skin color. I turn my light up a little bit. I don't want it to be too bright. That might be a little bright. I don't want it to be too bright. So we're going to start with a magic ring of 6 single crochets. You're going to need a stitch marker because we're building an amigurumi. So your next round with amigurumi, you just go straight into the stitch. You don't have to slip stitch or chain. You just go straight into the stitch and start building. So your next round is going to be 2 single crochets in each space, but after this first stitch, that's where your marker goes. And then you can put stitch number 2 in there. So 2 single crochets in each stitch around. Oh, we're not gonna feed, are we? Let me fix my cake. I have allergies. I'm gonna lose my voice. So 2 single crochets in each stitch around will leave you with 12 stitches. For the next 6 rows, I just want you to put 1 single crochet in each of these 12 stitches. So that's my 6 rows. I don't move my marker every time, but your next round is going to be done in the back loops only. So these right here are your back loops. We need all the front loops. I need all these front loops for putting the hay in. So we're going to go into the back loop. I take this finger and I just push it on. I don't try to get the hook in there because it can be awkward. But just take your time. You're only doing what, 12 stitches? So in the back loops, 1 single crochet. So all these front loops here are left exposed. When we come back later, we're going to put some yellow hay in there so it can be a scarecrow. So we're going to change. That was my stomach growling, in case you heard that. We're going to change to our shirt color here. So kind of back out of this last stitch. Like, don't finish the last stitch with your skin color. We're going to finish it with whatever shirt color we're using. Got everything a little too loosey-goosey here. So, make sure everything's pulled tight. You're going to do 3 single crochets and an increase in the full stitch. That's 3 single crochets, and then your next stitch gets the increase of 2 single crochets in the same space. And repeat. So this will give you 15 stitches. You're going to do it 3 times around. So you got 15 stitches. For the next 25 rows, you're going to put 1 single crochet in each of these 15 stitches for 25 rows, and I will see you on the other side. And when you stuff this, barely put any stuffing in it, because you want the arms to kind of be flat and go around stuff. Does that make sense? Don't stuff it like you would normally stuff an arm. So that's my 25 rows of 15 single crochets. So we can fasten off. And then, like I said, I've got a bit of stuffing that I've stuffed up to here. I've got good stuffing in the hands for having to sew them together, but this is going to be holding a flower pot, and it's going to be stretched around it. Like, you just don't need anything too bulky. So that's why I say just stuff it very lightly. Like to the point where it's almost flat, but it's not flat because it has to go like this around a pot. So just keep that in mind when you're putting the stuff in here. So we're gonna whip stitch the top of this, and then I'm gonna put my screen up for you to make your second piece. So this video will be in chapters. So we're just going to go stitch for stitch as to do a whip stitch. Easy peasy. So go ahead and make your second one, and I will see you right back here, and we'll get the leg done. And then we'll probably do our straw, and then that's probably going to be a lot for the first chapter. So I'll see you back then. So I put some straw on my one arm already. So that's what mine looks like. You can put 2 in each loop if you want a lot more straw than me. So all I did, I'm going to use this stuff. All I did was wrap around my hand. And then I just cut it. I only cut it in half, and then after it goes on my arm, I just trim it. So I put it on in every loop, and then I just cut off what I didn't want. So you just take your piece, you fold it in half, like this. You find your front loop, like that. You put this on, pull it through, and then yarn over it and pull these pieces through that hoop. Through the loop. The hoop? The loop. And this doesn't have to be perfectly in half. You're going to probably be trimming some off anyway. So once you're done, you can trim, or you don't have to trim. You can do whatever you want. I didn't trim mine to be all the same length. I trimmed it to be different lengths, just so it looks like it's not... like there's no conformity. It's just straw. But then again, I only did 1 in each front loop. So let's move on to the leg. So you're going to need your skin color. And we're going to start with a magic ring of 6 single crochets. Your next round is going to be 2 single crochets in each stitch around. So again, after the first stitch, that's where your marker goes. 2 single crochets in each stitch will give you 12 stitches when you're done. Your next round is going to be 1 single crochets and an increase. That's 1 single crochet with your marker. So your next stitch gets the increase of 2 single crochets in the same space. Bank it in there. And repeat. So this will give you 18 stitches when you're done. Your next round is going to be 2 single crochets and an increase, and this will bring it up to 24 stitches. That's number 1. That's number 2, and then your increase of 2 single crochets in the same space. And repeat. Your next round is going to be 1 single crochet in each of these 24 stitches. So we're going to start decreasing a little bit. We're only going to decrease in like a certain spot to make the toe. So this looks really big right now, but it won't. It'll look like this. So we have to start decreasing, but only in the front part, not in the back part. So that's the weirdness we're going to do next, in case you wonder what the heck. So first I want you to start with 6 single crochets. That's number 1. That's 6 single crochets. And now I want you to do a 2 single crochet decrease 3 times. That's number 1 and 2 and a decrease. That's 1 time. That's 2 times. That's 3 times. So I'm doing an invisible decrease. So I'm just using the front loops to do it. And I'll show you in the next round. I guess I should have showed you this one. And now you're going to do 6 single crochets back to your marker. So doing your first row of decreases, just normal decreases, is fine, but to layer them on top of each other and save on the big gaps that you get sometimes, we'll do invisible. You don't have to, but I'll show you the invisible decrease. So this next round starts with 6 single crochets. Say that 6 times fast. That's number 1. That's 6 single crochets. And now I want you to do 3 single crochet decrease 2 times. So I'll show you the invisible decrease. That's number 1. That's 3 single crochets. And then your decrease. So I'm going to do invisible ones only in the front loops. So I'm going to go into the first front loop. I'm going to yoink around and go into the second front loop. Then I'm going to yarn over, pull through those, and then finish the stitch. So that's an invisible, and it'll cut down on the holes that the decreases will make. So that's 1 time. Do another one of those. 3 single crochet decrease. That's 3 single crochet. And then my decrease. That's 2 times. And then 5 single crochets back to your marker. One more weirdness. One more row of weirdness. So when you do 5 single crochets, that's number 1. That's 5 single crochets. And then this time I want you to do 2 single crochet decrease 2 times. So that's number 1. That's number 2, and then a decrease. That's 1 time. Do it again. 2 single crochets and a decrease. is 2 times, and then 6 single crochets back to your marker. There. So that is how we shape the foot. So once you put stuffing in that, you'll see the shape. Come to light a little bit. So it's hard to see now that once we start building onto it. So your next round is just going to be 1 single crochets in what should be 17 stitches. So 1 single crochet in each stitch. So one last decrease round right here at the front. First we're going to do 8 single crochets. That's number 1. Oh, I don't want to get my stuffing in there. 5, 6, 7. So that's 8 single crochets. So these next 3 stitches, we're going to crochet them together. So you're going to see it written as SC3 tog, and that means single crochet 3 together. So you're going to go into your first stitch, pull up a loop, go into your second stitch, pull up a loop, go into the third stitch, pull up a loop. Should have 4 loops on. Yarn over and pull through all 4. And then you should have 6 single crochets back to your marker, and a total of 15 stitches. For the next 3 rows, I just want you to put 1 single crochet in each of these 15 stitches, and I will see you on the other side. So that is what you should have. So if you're wondering why I did it up so high and gave him like flood pants, it's because he's a scarecrow, and you know, they're probably all ripped and torn at the bottom. He's been hanging on this stick for, you know, that was the point of the flood pants. But I had an image in my head. So your next round is going to be, and we're going to switch colors after this round. This round's going to be in the back loops only, so that we have the front loops for the straw, for the hay or whatever. And then we're going to switch colors. So 1 single crochet in the back loops. So I've got to change colors here. This is my last stitch. So I just pulled up a loop, and I'm going to finish it with my pants color. For the next 23 rows, you're just going to, I'm going to tie these together. For the next 23 rows, you're just going to do 1 single crochet in each of these 15 stitches. So stuff as you go, but stuff the foot really well, like you're stuffing a normal foot. But when it comes to the leg part, again, you want it just to be thin so that you can maneuver it like this around a plant or whatever. So for the next 23 rows, you're going to put 1 single crochet in each of these 15 stitches. And I will see you on the other side. So that's my 23 rows. So you can go into the next stitch and fasten off. You just need a sewing tail to sew it to his body. And then a little bit of stuffing, just like I mentioned. And we do the same thing. We're going to whip stitch this shut and then put our straw all the way around. So when you whip stitch this shut, it's going to be sewn to the body like this. So the whip stitch has to be with the foot. So this is vertical up and down, the foot is vertical up and down. Because it's going to get sewn on like this, you want the foot to be upright. So if you whip stitched it normally, it would be across like this, and then it would be in the wrong direction. So that's the only thing weird about this, that you have to make sure the whip stitch goes vertical up and down like that. So my little thing's kind of close to not being in the right spot, but I'm just going to go backwards with it. I don't think anyone's going to notice once it's sewn to the doll. So holding your foot like this, the fold has to be here. So I'm a little off, but I think it'll be fine. I'm just going to kind of go back on myself here. I might have a little bobble, but hopefully yours is fine. If not, I'm sure pulling it out and just moving it a couple of stitches isn't going to be a big deal. So that's my footy. So I'm going to put the pattern on the screen. So go ahead and build your second leg. Do your where's my stuff start? Do your straw, your hay. This will be the end of chapter 1. So when we come back in chapter 2, that's when we'll do the body and the head and stuff and sew everything together. So I will see you in chapter 2. Hi guys, welcome back to chapter 2. So we're going to start by building the body. So we have to start with our pants color. We're still using our 5mm. And we're going to start with a magic ring of 6 single crochets. Your next round is going to be 2 single crochets in each stitch. Oh, jeez. So that's number 1, the hard way. And then your second stitch can go in there. So 2 single crochets in each stitch around will leave you with 12 stitches. So your next round is going to be 1 single crochet and an increase. That's 1 single crochet. So your next stitch gets the increase of 2 single crochets in the same space. And repeat. This will give you 18 stitches. Your next round is going to be 2 single crochets and an increase, and this will bring you up to 24 stitches. That's number 1, number 2, and then the next stitch gets the increase of 2 single crochets in the same space, and repeat. Your next round is going to be 3 single crochets and an increase. This will bring you up to 30 stitches. That's number 1. That's 3 single crochets, and then your next stitch gets the increase of 2 single crochets in the same space. And repeat. Your next round is going to be 4 single crochets and an increase, and this will bring it up to 36 stitches. That's number 1. That is 4 single crochets, so your next stitch gets the increase of 2 single crochets in the same space. And repeat. Your next round is going to be 5 single crochets and an increase, and this will bring it up to 42 stitches. We're just about there. That's number 1. That's 5 single crochets, so your next stitch gets the increase of 2 single crochets in the same space. And repeat. Your last increase round is going to be 6 single crochets and an increase. And this will bring it up to 48 stitches, and that's as high as we're going. That's number 1. That is 6 single crochets, so your next stitch gets the increase of 2 single crochets in the same space. And repeat. So this is what you should have right now. For the, if you need, okay, so I'm going to give you two different rows. So for the one my size, for a little pot, get rid of my buttons. So for a little pot like this, get rid of my tags. So this is the tiny pot, and then this is the stuff I bought at the dollar store to put the fake flowers in. But like I said, once mums come out, mums are gonna be planted in this with like potting soil. So this only stands about 4 inches high, and it is only about 4 inches wide in diameter. Let me get into frame. So 4 inches high, this is how small the pot is. Like it's a small pot. So if you have a bigger pot that you're using, now the arms on this guy are long enough. You have to zoom out to show you. The arms on this guy and the legs are long enough for a bigger pot. You can certainly do a bigger pot. So if you're doing a bigger pot, he's probably going to have to be taller. So I had done a bigger pot initially. I don't have the pot with me, but I initially had done the pot just a couple of inches bigger than this one, so about 6 inches tall probably. And I had to do 12 rows for the Scarecrow body, but for a little pot like this I only did 10. So it's only a 2-row difference, but if you are doing a bigger pot, a 6-inch pot, then you might want to do 12 rows instead of the 10. For this little pot, I'm going to do 10 rows. And after the 10 rows, you can always kind of sit there and put it next to whatever pot you're using and kind of make a judgment call yourself. But for my little 4-inch pot, I bought it at the dollar store. I'm not promoting the dollar store. I have no sponsors. I'm not a big enough channel for sponsors, so I'm not sponsored by anybody. But I bought the pot, the fake flowers, and the little green thing. I bought all that at the dollar store, so it was dirt cheap. So for the next 10 rows, or 12, depending on your pot size, we're just going to put 1 single crochet in each of these 48 stitches. So I will see you on the other side. So this is my 10 rows. This is what it should look like. So this next row we're going to be doing on the front posts. So we're going to go in and we're going to pick up these posts. So when we go in and do our stitch around the post, we go back down the same hole we just came out of to pick up the next post. And the same thing. So this hole is going to be shared each time to pick up all the posts. And we're just going to do a single crochet around it. So starting with the very first post, you're going to just do a single crochet just like you would a normal single crochet. And again, pick up the next post, single crochet. Next post. And they're all just front posts all the way around. And it'll give you this thick ridge. And that's what we want. Look. Because we're going to be going to the shirt color. So just continue this all the way around, and I will see you on the other side. So I'm all the way back around up to my marker, but we don't want to gap here, so you have to do this last stitch or post that your stitch marker is right there, but you still got to do this last post. Oh, sorry, this last post we're going to change colors in, so just pull up the loop. We got to go to our shirt color so you can finish that stitch. Unfortunately, that's going to be on the outside, so you kind of bring it back around through here to weave. I'm going to do that now. So what I would do in this instance, what I did do in this instance, is I just cut it off. You're working from the outside, not the inside. So I just went through the next space, and you won't even be able to see that. So I'm going to show you the stitches we're going to be working into. So we want to keep this ridge because that's pants, right? So we have to go into the stitches from the row before. So these stitches here, you kind of have to go in and down. The first one's hard to see, but it's right there. And then this one here. So this is from the row before. Those are the stitches we're going to be working into to start our shirt. So I just want you to do one single crochet in each stitch around. So the first stitch is way down here. This is where I pop my straggler out. Well, that's worked backwards. I'm working backwards. I get my straggler out of the way. It's awkward to start, and it's really hard to show you where I'm going. So I'm going right into there to do my first stitch. And then that just, everything's pulled inwards at this point. Don't really need a stitch marker because you'll be able to see where your stitches are. So I'm just going to weave my end as I go. So that's what you should have, still this ledge. They're not tight stitches, they're just normal stitches. So you should be able to feel them as well. So it leaves this rim so that it makes it look like it's pants separated from the shirt. So that's all I need you to do in this round, is just one single crochet in each of these stitches. So I'm back around, and my 48th stitch is right in here. And because it's turned a little bit, it's really hard to see, and it's hard to, well, it's not really hard to get into, but it's hard to see because of this jog. But you should still have 48 stitches. So, for the next 7 rows, you're just going to do one single crochet in each of these 48 stitches, and then we start to decrease. So you can stuff this at any time. So this is what you should have. This is my 7 rows with my shirt. So you see how you can see that these are pants and this is a top. Plus you've got this if you wanted to put overall straps on. You've got this you can sew into, so it works out all the way around for everybody. So we're going to start decreasing now. So we're going to do 6 single crochets and a decrease. And this will bring you down to 42 stitches. That's number 1. That's 6 single crochets, and then the decrease I'm going to use is my front loops for invisible decreases. So you go into the front loop, you pop around, go into the second front loop, then you yarn over, pull through, and finish the stitch. So after you're done the decrease round, I want you to follow it up with 1 single crochet in each stitch around. All of this will be on my pause screen, and I will see you on the other side. So your next round is going to be 5 single crochets and a decrease, followed up by a 1 single crochet in each stitch. This will bring you down to 36 stitches. That's number 1. That's 5 single crochets and then your decrease. So every single decrease row is going to be followed up by a 1 single crochet in each stitch except for the last 2. So just make sure you're reading the screen properly, and I will see you on the other side. Your next round is going to be 4 single crochets and a decrease, followed up by 1 single crochet in each stitch. So that's number 1. That's 4 single crochets and then your decrease. This brings you down to 30 stitches. So this is what you should have currently. So the next 2 rows are going to be decreases back to back, so no 1 single crochet in between them. And then we're going to change to our skin color. So your first round is going to be 3 single crochets and a decrease, because we're still just counting down. We're not changing any of that up. So this will bring you down to 24 stitches. So that's 3 single crochets and then your decrease. Repeat. So your last decrease round before we change color is going to be 2 single crochets and a decrease. That's number 1, that's number 2, and then our decrease. And this will bring you down 18 stitches. So this is my last decrease, and I also have to change color. So I'm going to pull through my loops, but I'm not going to finish that. Well, I'm going to finish it just with a different color, so. And just so I don't have to weave. And no, it's not laziness. I don't like the thickness it leaves on one side, because you weave part way and then you've got this one thicker side. So anyway, you're going to want to shove some stuffing in there. Such a tiny hole now, but we're going to be increasing for the head in the next round, but I still want you to finish stuffing this guy. So your next round with your skin color is going to be 2 single crochets in each stitch. So we're going from 18 to 36 because we have to increase for the noggin, for the head. So after the first stitch, that's when the marker goes in, and then you can put stitch number 2. So 2 single crochets in each stitch around. So this is what it should look like, all squiggly and crowded. So the next round is going to be in the back loops only, because we need all the front loops to put all the hay in. But you're going to do a 2 single crochet increase while you do everything in the back loops. So that's number 1 in my back loop. That's 2 single crochets, and then your increase of 2 single crochets in the same back loop, and repeat. So your next round in the full stitches is going to be 3 single crochets and an increase, and that's as far as we're going. And this will give you 60 stitches. So that's number 1. That's 3 single crochets and then your increase of 2 single crochets in the same space. And repeat in the full stitches. He's going to have a great big ginormous head. So this is what you should have. It should be all wavy and out of shape and ridiculous looking. For the next 10 rows, you're going to put 1 single crochet in each of these 60 stitches. And I will see you. This will be the end of the chapter, because that's a lot. So I will see you in chapter 3 to finish them up. So for the next 10 rows, 1 single crochet in each stitch. Hi, welcome back. This is chapter 3, and this is what you should have. I left you at 10 rows for the head. So here's my dilemma. I'm going to start decreasing now to close up this head, and I've run out of taupe. I cannot find any more, but I've got this darker color. So my head's going to be two-toned. Yeah, that's gonna be funny. I think his hat and hair are gonna be on most of it, so I'm not too upset about it. But you see me changing color, that's why, because I ran out of this taupe. Anyway, we're gonna start decreasing. We don't really need to stuff it now. You'll have plenty of time. So your next round is going to be 4 single crochets and a decrease, and you'll have 1 extra stitch left. And this will give you a number of 50. So that's number 1. Let's bring it back down here. That's 4 single crochets, and then I'm still keeping with my invisible decrease. So just do it all the way around. Whatever extra stitches you have at the end, just put a single crochet in them. So I've made it all the way around with my decreases. I have 1 stitch left. I'm going to put a single crochet in there, and I have 50 stitches. This next round is going to be 3 single crochets and a decrease, and this will bring you down to 40. So each time we're decreasing this head by 10. That's number 1. That's 3 single crochets and then your decrease. So your next round is going to be 2 single crochets and a decrease, and this will bring you down to 30 stitches. You're wondering why I made the head so big. It's because there's probably going to be a plant in front of it, so I just kind of wanted it to stand out a lot. That's number 1. That's number 2. And then your decrease. So your next round is going to be 1 single crochet and a decrease, and this will bring you down to 20 stitches. We're actually going to do this 2 rows in a row, but we're only doing the 1 now, and then we're going to start to stuff it. That's 1 single crochet, and then we jump right into our decrease. So this will bring you down to 20, and then we're going to stuff it, and then we're going to do our second row of 1 single crochet decrease, which will bring you down to 14. And that's pretty much where we stop. Alright, we can stuff it now. So we got one last row of 1 single crochet decrease, and this will bring it down to 14 stitches, and then we're going to close it up. So I am at the end. I'm going to fasten off with a weaving tail. Make sure it's full up, especially around here, so you don't get wrinkles. So you're going to go in the front loop and then out the front loop all the way around. then when you come back around, you can just pull that closed, and then just to secure it, you can pop across, go through the loop, make a knot, and then I do it the other way as well. I pop across, make a knot, and then you go. See, mine's a little wrinkly. I didn't get it completely full, but it's gonna have a hat on, so not a huge big deal. Just weave back and forth a few times. So my head's 3-tone, and I'm just noticing it now that I've got this color I started with, and then that's actually lighter. I thought these two were the same color, and then I've got dark on top. So my head's 3-tone, which is perfectly fine. So this is what you should have. My head's not quite stuffed right, but that's okay. He's just going to be a little planter holder sitting outside. So this is going to be the back ear guy. Make sure he's down for when we do the face. So let's do the face now, just so that's out of the way, and then we can start working on the hat. So you're going to need to get some black. So I didn't crochet the face, I just sewed it on. So to start the face, you just need to get yourself a long piece of black. Start with the mouth first. We got to do the mouth pretty low on this guy, so it doesn't matter where you go in, it just matters where you come out. But try not to pull all the way through. This is going to be not easy to show you on camera. I'm sure you know how to do the mouth. Just need to pop over to where you want it to be, and then pop up to where you want your little marks to be. If you're doing a pumpkin face, you can do whatever you want for your mouth, but when you're done, you're going to pop up here to start the nose. And yeah, that's low, but when he's sitting down, you can see for yourself. When he's sitting down, I'm sure you'll be able to still see it. There'd be a plant in the way anyway, but so for his nose, of course, making sure you're in the middle of the mouth. I'm just gonna kind of pop across, and then you just keep going back and forth until you get smaller and smaller. Bring it in, bring it in, bring it in until it's to a point if you're doing that type of a nose. So when I get up to the top of the point, I'm just grabbing fibers. I'm not doing anything spectacular. So I don't have enough to do the eyes, so I'm just gonna go in and pop out somewhere just to kind of finish the nose. So you could have weaved in your stragglers. I just cut mine off because mine's just sitting on the front porch. I have no kids in my house that are going to be pulling at it or doing anything. So that's my little pumpkin head. But again, like I say, you can do whatever you want with your face. This is what I chose to do with mine. So let's move on to the hat. So I'm going to use this green color. So I got to switch my my matte to red, just so you can see it. So this hat is made in amigurumi. I didn't bother making it in just regular crochet because why? It's just a doll hat, right? Not a real person hat. So this starts off with a magic ring of 6 single crochets. So your next round is going to be 2 single crochets in each stitch around. So I do my stitch marker. So after the first stitch, that's when your marker goes in. 2 single crochets in each stitch around gives you 12 stitches when you're done. And this green color is called Lush. It is from Craft Smart Value, in case you're wondering. So your next round is going to be 1 single crochets and an increase. This will bring you up to 18 stitches. That's 1 single crochet. So the next stitch gets the increase of 2 single crochets in the same space. And repeat. Your next round is going to be 2 single crochets and an increase, and this will bring you up to 24 stitches. That's number 1. That's number 2. And then your increase of 2 single crochets in the same space. And repeat. Your next round is going to be 3 single crochets and an increase. And this will bring it up to 30 stitches. Number 1, that's 3 single crochets, and then the next stitch gets the increase of 2 single crochets in the same space, and repeat. Your next round is going to be 4 single crochets and an increase, and this will bring it up to 36 stitches. That's number 1. That's 4 single crochets and then your increase. And repeat. Your next round is going to be 5 single crochets and an increase, and this will bring it up to 42 stitches. That's number 1. That's 5 single crochets and then your increase. And repeat. Next and last round is going to be 6 single crochets and an increase, and this will bring you to 48 stitches. That's 6 single crochets and then your increase. So your next round is going to be done in the back loops only. Uh-oh, I lost my needle. There it is. So these here are your back loops. So don't have to turn anything over or anything. They're just looking right at you. So 1 single crochet all the way around in the back loops. For the next 7 rows, I want you to put 1 single crochet into the full stitch, 48 stitches, and I will see you on the other side. So this is what you should have right now. This should be flat on top. So the next round that we're going to do is going to be done in the front loops. So this is your whole stitch. We're going to do them in the front loops here, because that's how we're going to make a brim for our hat. So we're going to be doing an increase as we do it. So front loops only. You're going to do a 3 half double increase all the way around. So we're changing stitches, we're changing location for the stitches, and we're doing an increase all at the same time. So yarn over, go into your first front loop, pull through, finish the stitch. That's a half double. Pretty sure you already knew. So we're going to do 3 of those. Let me mark my first stitch. So that's 3 half doubles in the front loops only, and then increase of 2 half doubles in the same front loop. So don't worry about it stretching out like that. It'll all go back into shape. And continues. You should have 60 stitches when you're done this. So your next round in the full stitches are going to be 4 half doubles and an increase. So we're using the full stitches now. That's number 1. That's 4 half doubles and then your increase of 2 half doubles in the same space. And repeat. So that's what you should have at this point. Your next round is going to be 5 half doubles and an increase, and this brings you up to 84 stitches, and that's about as big as we're going. So that's number 1. That's 5 half doubles and then your increase. And repeat. So this is what you should have. Oh, one side of my hat's popped in. This, oh, this is what you should have at this point. This is all wavy and stuff because, you know, it is a scarecrow. And he's kind of got a messy hat. He's outside all the time. The last round is just going to be 1/2 double in each stitch. Now you're going to find, and you don't have to do the last round if you don't want to, but you're going to find it's going to roll a little bit, depending on the yarn you're using. But you can make the decision whether you want to do this last row or not, but that's it. That'll be it. Is 1/2 double in each stitch around, and then we have to add all of our straw. So this is what you should have at this point. So it curls up just a wee little bit. You can fasten off. So to make it a little bit better over here, and go through the next stitch, kind of pull these together, and then you're going to come down the front loop of this one, and then it looks like it's a little more even and a stitch-ish. And then you can weave. So all these front loops, right in here, these are all the loops we're going to use to put our hair in. I'm sewing my hat to my head, so I'm not doing anything with the middle. But if you're not going to sew your hat to your head, you might want to tuck that away. So anyway, I still got all my yarn for when I did the straw on the arms and legs. And it's the same concept. You're just going to go into your loop, pull through, yarn over, pull through that loop. So this will be, you know, the hair. So you're going to have to give him a haircut, probably, but you don't have to do every loop if you don't want to. It's completely up to you. So again, if you want to put 2 pieces in the same loop, you can to give him thicker hair, but I didn't because it's just a scarecrow. But I just want to mention while we're doing this that I do have a merch shop. So if you're interested in merch, I have some Christmas cardinals up there on some gear. I've got shirts, I've got hoodies. If you don't have a whole lot of money, I've got stuff like mouse pads and stickers and buttons and stuff that are fairly cheap. I've got aprons, I've got baby items. So I've got some Christmas cardinals. I've got just a regular cardinal. Pictures that my husband took of cardinals in our backyard, actually, and I put them on some gear, on some merch, and they're really well done and they're very pretty. I've got bags, you know, under 20 bucks. Well, the bags are 20 bucks. They're actually a good size tote. I carry a whole I have one already that just got delivered to me, and I carry all my projects in. I've got 2 projects in that one bag. Measurements and everything are there. So anyway, go check out the merch shop. You don't have to buy anything, but even if you want to just help support the channel, you can buy a $3 sticker. I've got different designs, not just cardinals. I've got different designs you might like. And there's multiple ways to support me. Watching my videos, sharing my videos, liking my videos, commenting on my videos, That's all support for me, and it's absolutely 100% free of charge. So I just thought I'd never usually promote my merch store in my videos, but it's not getting a whole lot of action right now, so right now all I'm asking you to do is just check it out. You might find something you like, you might find something somebody else might like for Christmas. So there's my hat and my hair all done. So I'm going to tack my hat on, so I'm not going to do anything with this guy in the center. So I just need to give him a haircut. Oh, if I can get him on. So we just need to give this guy a haircut. Once your hat's on the way you want your hat to be on. I don't think I'm going to cut it at the back. I think I'm going to leave it long, like that. And then I'm just going to tack it in a few spots, just in case the wind blows strong and it tries to come off. But it's on there pretty good. It fits pretty good. And that's your hat, but you don't want it to be perfect. You want it to be all wobbly and, you know, Scarecrow-like. So now that we got that done, we can sew everything else on. So sew the legs on first. And this is where you're going to kind of need, I don't know, let's find my planter. Gonna kind of need a planter. Whatever you're using, to give you an idea of where my table is very slippery right now. To give you an idea of where to sew this together, to see how far around you're gonna go. So this was not an easy thing to do. So I did not do overalls for my last guy, and I'm probably not doing overalls for this guy, but you can do overalls if you want. I think that would be cute. So I like to meet up. Tie a knot. Tie a double knot, poke it down. So ultimately we do end up sewing our feet together like this around the pot. So then you just do the same thing with your arms. So now we just have to get our pot. I don't think I got anything even there, but get whatever pot you're using. Like I said, eventually these will have mums in them. Right now there's just this thing. So get your skin color. Mine obviously is not going to match. And I definitely did a mattress stitch with these hands, because you don't really want your stuff to be visible, because I think that would look like crap. So you put your hands together. You don't have to keep the pot in there, you just have to kind of give yourself an idea of what you're looking at. Just gives you an idea. Anyway, I'm going to reattach here. So when I reattach, I'm going to go through the loop. Tie a very tight double knot so that I can suck it down later. Now this is going to suck for me because I have my hands and my yarn are now two different colors because I ran out of the other stuff. So I basically did a sideways mattress stitch. So I just grabbed whatever yarn and then whatever yarn, just trying to keep it even. So you kind of got to do it. It is so hard to do it on my table when my legs want to flop. And then of course you can't really go all the way up because you're holding a pot. And if you want to put a bigger pot in there, you can't have this completely all sewn shut. So I did that. I left some open and then I came back up to the top. And I did down the back side. And then I pulled that closed. And that's where I left it. Come back up through the top. I did more tying in double knots, and then I weaved in two different directions to pull that knot down. It's a good thing I zoomed out because I am nowhere trying to even stay on camera. So this went this way with this guy and then the other way with this guy. And then that shouldn't be noticeable. But it's too tall for me to see it. So that's what I did with the hands. So when it holds the pot, the hands are going to be like this. And it gives you room to hold bigger pots if you want. And I did the same thing with the legs. And there we go. So his hands and his feet are together, tippy toes like that. And now you can put just about any kind of size pot in there that you want. This is a 4-inch one. But because we didn't really put a whole lot of stuffing in this, and the legs and the arms, then you can put different sizes. And you can move his arms up and down too, so it's hard to see. But, I mean, you can see this thumbnail. And that is it. We are all done. Unless you wanted to put a flower on his hat, then that's up to you. But I didn't do any of that because I think there's a lot of flowers going on. And those are my guys. Now I got 2 of them. I gotta do my other pot. Anyway, thanks for joining me, guys. I'll see you in the next video.